Page 67 in the text, printed text. Beowulf and the Death Dragon of the Deep. It was not so many years after this that in the heat of battle, Hygelac, brave king of the Geats, was struck down and killed. He was much mourned, for he had ruled wisely and well. But the Geats were fortunate indeed despite their sadness, for now the whole kingdom passed into the hands of the great hero, Beowulf. For more than 50 years he ruled the land and ruled it fairly, generous always in spirit, a good and kindly king. Never had there been a king more loved and admired than Beowulf. Gray-haired now, even for this hero, age had taken its toll of years. He had every right to expect a peaceful old age, but cruel fate was to intervene and deny it to him. We do not always have what we deserve. For 300 years or more, deep in a burial mound high on the cliffs above the moors, lay a horde-guarding dragon, sleeping all this while undisturbed. So he might have stayed forever, harmless in his dragon dreams, a hoard of golden treasure for his bed. No one would ever have known of him, nor of the treasure, but quite by chance, some nameless slave happened upon this cave. Condemned to a flogging and on the run from his warrior master, he found the opening and, seeking any shelter he could find, crept in, came across this slumbering dragon, curled up on his pile of treasure. Heaps of hoard things there were. Seized with sudden terror at the sight of this monstrous dragon, the unfortunate slave wanted only to escape. But one golden goblet lay close by, so close he simply could not resist it. He snatched it up and ran for his life, and even as he ran, an idea came back into his head. This goblet would be a perfect gift from my master, he thought. I'll go back and give it to him. Maybe it will appease his fury. Little did he know what fire fury he would bring upon himself and his whole people by his thoughtless act. Little did he know or care how this treasure had come to be there, with the Death Dragon guarding it. How, in a heathen age long ago, the sole survivor from a tribe of earls that had been brought to a sudden and violent war death had carried this treasure hoard of talismans into the mound, knowing that he could no longer guard it and care for it himself. He decided to hide it, bury it where no one could find it. Over the treasure he bewailed his grief for his lost friends, for the joys they had shared, crying out to the earth itself to protect the precious tribe treasure, last vestiges of a proud people now slaughtered and silent in death. All their harp playing, all singing done forever. So he left the treasure-filled mound, and maddened with grief wandered the wild, wild moors, until death came for him too. So all the tribe was gone, but the treasure remained. Soon there came that way a dreaded dragon, a night ravager, a foul flame-feed he was, always seeking out hellish hiding holes where he could rest. One day he happened upon this same treasure-filled mound. Fate had brought him there and made it his own, possessed it with his power, intending to sleep there on this priceless pillow till the end of time. Not that it did him any good. Possessions was all his joy. So for 300 years, undisturbed, this death dragon guarded his underground hoard until that doomed day when that wretched slave came upon the place by chance, discovered the godless creature sleeping there, and carried off that golden goblet, a peace offering to his master, or so he thought. A luckless man, but the dragon, through his serpent scales, had felt the loss of the treasure, and hearing the footfall of the intruder, opened one angry eye and watched him go. After 300 years he was slow to wake, This worm of wickedness now slithered out of his hole, following where the fleeing slave had gone. Rage roaring, he circled his mound, looking for the man's footprints, but found none out there in the wilderness. Yet he knew his treasure house had been breached, knew the golden cup had been stolen from him, and was burning with fire fury at the offense. He would have his sweet revenge, that was sure. He longed now for the flames of war, for the fire of battle again, and after so many years of sleep, he could hardly wait. That night, this death-dealing dragon came flying over the moors. Armed with fire he came, spewing out his flames wherever he went. He did not mind whose dwelling it was he left burning brightly behind him. In his eyes all were guilty of the crime. If he had his way, he would not have left a single man alive.